There we go. So, welcome, guys. Thanks for coming along to my first guest speaker talk with Jassie. So, I'm very excited. I'm a bit nervous, but I think it's going to be really, really valuable and really good information. So good for you for being here as well. Well done for making the time to take the time out. And I know it can be hard to take time out of your schedule and, schedule in self-care, but it's becoming more and more prevalent how important it is. So good job. And that was a big reason why I wanted to create core membership as well, because it can be hard to know what to do for self-care and to look after yourself and live your best life. So I wanted to bring all of that into one place. And so I'd like to introduce you to Jassie. Some of you already know Jassie. She's our beautiful guest speaker tonight. So thank you, Jassie, for being here and taking your time out. And I know
thanks for having me.
Feeling well, but
no, I'm getting a bit of a cold.
Yeah, that's no good. But Jassie has really helped me in the last few weeks, and she is someone I feel that embodies everything that I'm trying to teach in core membership. So I thought it was very fitting to have her on and teach us about self-care and redefining ourselves and what that actually means, and how we can bring it into our lives. So grab out your journals and pieces of paper, pen, get ready and take some beautiful notes, and also write down some questions if you have any to ask at the end. So firstly, Jassie, would you mind just sharing a little bit about yourself and what redefining yourself means to you?
Yes, I'm a yoga teacher, personal trainer, energy healer, holistic pelvic care practitioner. I've got a few other tools. I like to use a bit of sound healing in my sessions. I hold women's circles, bit of everything, and I'm a mum of 3 as well. So I think redefining yourself came up actually when Kiralee came to see me for a holistic pelvic care session. And we've noticed every person that comes to see me, at the end of the day, a lot of the energy that we're shifting from the womb space and from the body is always energy or something's arisen or occurred throughout our lives that it's not actually ours. It's actually come from someone else. It's come from a belief of someone else's. It's come from either our parents or their parents, or a situation or a trauma we've been through. So I think redefining yourself, or you could even phrase it as reclaiming yourself, is about peeling off all those layers that aren't really who we are and coming back to who we truly are, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that's beautiful. I like the idea of peeling back the layers. That's good.
Well, that's kind of how it works, and you can never do it all at once. It really is a journey, and it takes time, and it's probably really never ending. Yeah.
Awesome. So you're also a personal trainer, yoga teacher, and you do the energy healing as well. What do you find is the biggest struggle that is sort of your clients that you see? What are their main struggles, and is there sort of a common theme there?
Well, this what we're talking about right now is probably a common theme. Probably a sense of powerlessness, I guess, not realizing how powerful we really are and being afraid to be powerful, being afraid to shine, because we are all beautiful, shining women, and we are all powerful women, which really ties in with self-worth and self-love always comes up. We all have some lack of it in some part. Yeah.
So that would be the biggest thing you find your clients come to you for?
It's a real combination. Yeah.
And do people even really know sometimes what they're coming to you for?
No, especially the holistic pelvic care sessions, because it's such a unique, specialized practice. And I find that a lot of women have never really stepped into their womb space and really felt what they're actually carrying there, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So usually it can be a little bit of surprise once all of this stuff comes up and we've brought our awareness to whatever part of the pelvic bowl we're in, or whatever part of the body, because it's not just the womb. Sometimes pain and trauma can present itself anywhere in the body, which comes up with sensations or a story in the mind or whatever it is. Yeah.
Okay. And do people come and see you for like physical stuff as well, like with personal training, and then, you know, you sort of help them in that way?
I would like to help more of my personal training clients. I do see things present in them, but people have to make the choice themselves and be aware that, hey, I think I really need this, and come and do that. But they seem to be a little bit separated, I guess. It's the energy healing and the holistic pelvic care is a real specialized thing.
Yeah. I find the same thing with personal training as well. Like people think that it's kind of all about the fitness, and that they, you know, if they're fit and they look good, they're going to be happy. But
it's that's only skin deep.
It's quite far from it. Like you could have the most rockin' body ever and still be miserable.
And that used to be me. I've been through that journey of not loving myself, not having any self-worth. Coming from a husband, I came from domestic violence, so I've lived through all sorts of things where my self-esteem was really low. I used to be a size 6 and have an 8-pack, but that doesn't mean anything. It really doesn't mean anything. So it's a journey. I mean, outside could look beautiful, but how do you really feel inside? How do you feel about your body? How do you feel about your thoughts? How do you feel about your daily actions? How do you feel about your words? Yeah.
Cool. Okay, so can you share with us some like of your top self-care tips, or like what you'd recommend someone to start with if they're trying to overcome some of these struggles?
I would think the number one thing to start with would be to make a daily routine where you connect with yourself. So even if it's 5 or 10 minutes, so preferably the best time to do it is before, like when you get out of bed, before you've gone to see your kids or your husband or whatever, that you spend that 10 minutes with yourself, inside your body, present with your thoughts, present with your breath, present with the sensations in your body, presence with yourself. So you have that connection, and then you're aware of actually what's going on within and what you need for the day before you can give everyone else what they need. If that makes sense.
Yeah. That's really powerful. Anything else, like what's your routine look like? Can you share with us a little bit about maybe
my routine's quite elaborate and quite devoted, especially of late. So it varies. The week I don't have my children, like this week, I will get up, I will go for a walk through the forest, I will sit by the creek, and usually my meditation lasts about an hour, where I will do a little bit of light work, I'll connect with my guides, I'll connect with myself, I'll do anything I need to do. I'll always do some breath work. And and then that's my must do thing. If I'm here at home, I do exactly the same thing, but I don't get to sit by the creek in the forest. But I always carve out that time to connect with myself, do my breath work. I have like a whole, which is probably another whole conversation if anyone was interested in that. I have a whole little practice that I do. Yeah.
And then
then at any time of the day, I'm feeling out of alignment, which means overwhelmed, anxious, frazzled, rushing or anything like that, I'll always make some time to ground and to come back to my breath, so I can come back to that place of being in alignment again.
I was just going to ask you, actually, like, what do you do when you're feeling a bit stressed? Or
when I'm feeling stressed and overwhelmed, the best thing for me is if I can go and sit in nature and put my feet on the earth. If I can't do that, at least sit outside and put my feet on the earth, because connecting with the earth and grounding is the best way. Instantly your body becomes grounded and it brings everything back into balance.
So can you just tell us a little bit more about grounding, like what the benefits are and where that comes from?
Oh my goodness. Benefits are huge. Well, when you think back to before we wore shoes all the time, like when you think about it, some people, they get out of bed, they put their slippers on, they walk on concrete floors, then they put their shoes on, and then they get in the car, and then they go to their office, and then they go home. So they actually never get any contact with the earth whatsoever. And human beings, we're designed and we're meant to connect with the earth. So even if it's like as often as you can, taking your shoes off, and even if you can do your morning practice, I quite often will take my chair outside and I'll sit there and do my meditation and my breath work with my feet on the earth, as often as you can. So if you've got any form of dis-ease in the body, if you're stressed, if you're really tense, if you're anxious, if you're overwhelmed, if it's blood pressure, it's good for everything.
Mm-hmm. What happens if you hate having dirty feet?
Walk on the grass.
Your head's full of dirt at the moment. There is no grass.
Well, just enjoy it. Just enjoy it. Or there is an option. Buy an earthing blanket. I just bought one. I sleep with one. And it plugs into the earthing outlet in your wall. So it's got nothing to do with the power, and you don't need the power on, because the two prongs that go into the power are plastic anyway. And it's the earth, the electromagnetic current from the earth runs into your sheet that you sleep on. So anyone that has any kind of dis-ease, people in wheelchairs, people who can't move properly, there's a whole documentary on it. It's created profound health benefits for them from every night getting that 8 hours of sleep with that magnetic pulse that the earth creates. So that's an option if you don't want to go and walk on the earth. And you can get them online. There's like a huge range. Yeah.
Cool. Also, you mentioned earlier about some stuff that's not yours that we're hanging on to. And I'm kind of trying to think of a way to describe it, and I keep coming back to like mental baggage in a way. It's kind of just and is it things like your mindset, fear, guilt, stories, things that have happened, and like, can you tell us how this mental baggage or blockage or whatever is holding us back in life and holding us back from truly being happy and living?
Well, imagine a candle, a light in the middle, which is what we are. And then imagine every time someone might say something that doesn't agree with you. When you're little, it could be something really simple, like you not getting something that you needed, like love or affection or support. So then you would take on that belief, oh, I'm not worthy of love, or I'm not worthy of affection, or I'm not worthy of support. And then someone may say something to you that's traumatic for you. And imagine, like, it's like layers that starts to block us, that starts to create tension, it creates distortion. So it's about transmuting that and removing that so that you can come back to who you really are, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I keep hearing a lot about this lately, and I know for myself, kind of even just understanding, why you do the things that you do, or why you might feel triggered by something, or something is not sitting right with you. Even just the understanding of it is helpful. Like, you don't need to necessarily...
Awareness is the first step. You just need awareness. And that's why we create that time with ourselves, so that we can catch the mind. We can catch the mind when it starts to think, whatever it is, whatever loophole that you're in, which could be, oh, I don't have enough money, or I'm not worthy of love, or my business is never going to work, or there's so many things.
Yeah.
And it's from conditioning. It's from society. It's, it's from when we were growing up. It's from parents. I know there's a mother here, but we are passed on stuff. It does happen. So it's constant. So we get to choose what we want to keep, whether it's in our best interests, or we get to choose to let it go.
Yeah. That's right. You actually get to choose what you focus on.
Yep.
In a way. Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. So what are the things that you would recommend just to start to uncover some of this stuff? Like, would it just be talking to someone, actually just opening up about, what you think it is, or?
Once again, it's coming back to that being with yourself, being honest with yourself, and being responsible for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Because sometimes it can be really easy to blame things on other people. Mm-hmm. And it's catching that, like me talking about this right now, some of you may even have a little list of things you're writing down. Oh yeah, that's me when I think, I'm unworthy of love, or that's me when I think whatever it is. Yeah. It's about the more time we create with ourselves, and we create space that's not distorted by anyone else's thoughts, it's not no one else's opinions, it's just coming back to you, and then you'll know what's the ego, what's the programming, and what's the true stuff, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Writing it down when it comes up, depending on the topic, because we have such a wide variety of topics. Self-love, abundance, all sorts of stuff. Abundance is huge.
Yeah. Well, bringing it back to some like self-care, I guess, and how that ties into the self-love, because I think that's a big thing, is what people are struggling with the most, is that they're trying to change themselves. They think that who the person is that they're trying to become, or when they get there, when they lose weight, when they look a certain
I'll be more lovable when I'm skinny. I will be lovable when I'm this. I'll be lovable when I'm that. Well, no, none of that is actually true. You are lovable and you are love.
Right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that can be really confronting for some people. Because in their body, it's all very well to, write affirmations down and say it, but in their body somewhere is some part of them saying, no, that's not true. You're not lovable. So it's about transmuting that.
And going back to where that stems from.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
No matter how painful it might be.
Yeah. And it's the dark, painful parts where we find the gem, the light.
Yeah.
It's about bringing that to light. So then we can become whole, because we hide these little parts of ourselves away. And that they call them shadow aspects of ourself, and we hide them away because they're painful. But it's about being honest with yourself and valuing yourself enough to bring it to the light, to see it and to love it, and go, okay, there's part of me that doesn't like this certain part of my body and hates it. Okay, well, I need to love that and accept that.
Yeah, cool. What kind of results do you get to see, like, from your clients or personally, when people start to take this holistic approach to their self-care and
their power back? That's the best thing. And having these little realizations that all of these things that they felt or thought about themselves aren't real. It's just a story that like we say, has been placed upon us or told or gathered from somewhere else, and we've taken that story on, but it's not actually true. That's the best part. Yeah.
Any other results you think?
Just power and love. It all seems to be tied in together. Yeah.
I find that for me, since doing this as well, it's like I've stopped caring about the weight I am on the scales, or you know, I feel like my clothes actually fit me better and I'm feeling more comfortable in them. I feel more confident. I feel like I've gotten to know myself, and I feel like I actually know, like, who I am and what I'm trying to do, like what my point is.
Yeah, because you can trust. It's that trust and that connection and that knowing that you are not all these things that you've either experienced or been told or taken on, that you are so much more than that. So we're limitless. We're completely limitless. And when we can get that, we can be and do anything.
Yeah, it's quite powerful, and I feel very lucky that I have started to experience this, because I have felt for a long time that there was things holding me back, or not even that. Like, I didn't even know that there was things holding me back, but you know, like, I knew that there was something, it always came back to kind of this empty feeling. And I always hated ever feeling like I was depressed, because I would be like, I can't even tell someone that I feel depressed, because they'll be like, what have you got to be depressed about? Like, you know, and at the same time as feeling like that, I could see all the gratitude as well. Like, I was in this in-between space, and I'd always come back to it being like, why do I keep coming back here? What is going on? When I have all this beautiful stuff in my life, like, what the hell? So that was really, really powerful for me, like, to be able to understand why those things keep popping up and why I keep coming back over here when I want to be over here. Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, all this beautiful stuff we have around us doesn't really matter, because we need to acknowledge all this beautiful stuff we have within us.
That's right. It's like the outside things that we buy, all these nice things, and that makes us feel better for a little while, you know, but it's why.
But then if we don't address that pain that's sitting here, it's never going to go away. Nothing's going to fill it. We have to just look at it and go, okay, I'm going to look at it now, and I'm going to let myself see what it is, and I'm going to transmute that. Yeah.
All right. Okay. Does anyone have any questions for Jassie that they've written down? Feel free to speak up. Don't be scared. That's what we're all here for.
Questions, please. Come on.
Oh, I don't have any questions, but I definitely can relate to that something missing, or that feeling where like, you know, you have such a good life compared, you know, in comparison to some people who suffer so greatly, and have a beautiful family and, you know, a nice home and supportive friends and family, and life's pretty good. But yeah, for some reason you just have that feeling that there's just,
so that feeling is just a disconnection. It's that separation. So that's why it's so important to always come back to yourself, as I was talking about, and find that part of you that feels separate, that feels disconnected, that feels wounded or in pain or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And bringing that back in so that you feel whole again, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it totally does. And it's good to know that we're going to be doing some work tomorrow.
Becky's booked in.
Very good.
Yeah, I'm a little bit scared to look at those bits, because you kind of know some of the bits, but clearing it is, I've, you know, done a bit of work the last 12 months on and off, and even just doing some yoga, the yoga with Jassie, I've had teary moments where I've released a little bit of emotion, and I think what scares me is the torrent that might be underneath. it's still come out. But yeah, got to be dealt with.
And Jassie, can you just like, I don't know, go further into that? Like, how can we accept that, you know, there is something bigger, and we have to kind of let all that stuff come up, no matter how ugly it might.
Well, we just have to be brave enough to look at it. We have to look at it, and we have to feel it, and we have to thank it and have gratitude for it and release it. Pretty much. That's what it is. And that's why creating those, which is where I keep coming back to, creating that devoted regime of space that you have with yourself, where there's no distractions and you are with yourself, because this is when this stuff comes up. And that's what yoga is a great tool for. Like, yes, yoga is great to get a strong physical body and get the limbs nice and fluid, but it's also the whole time you're on the mat, you're turning your attention within, and you're feeling through those body parts as you move them, or you're feeling through those energy centers as you're moving, and you're feeling what you're holding within you in that day, which could be sadness, or it could be grief, or it could be joy, or whatever it is. Yeah. And the only way we can ever truly be aware of that is to be present with ourselves and be honest with ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Cool.
I think a big component of doing this kind of work is trust as well, because to do this kind of work, you are at your most vulnerable.
Yeah.
And so I think a strength that we have within this group and working with Jassie is because we've built a rapport, we've built a trust, and there, as for Becca when she does her work tomorrow, you'll be feeling very cared for and be feeling very safe. And then when all those vulnerabilities come to the surface, you know you're in a very safe space and you're in safe hands. So that's going to help you when you're at your most vulnerable. So trust is a massive component of this work, I think.
Yeah, but also trusting in yourself.
Most definitely.
And that's a really big thing. Because especially when someone new gets up on the table and they're thinking with their mind a lot, because we don't even think with the mind. We come into the body and we think, we allow our body to tell us. We allow our body to tell us what's going on and how to release it. And trusting in that I always put this phrase in all my Insta stuff, we are our own medicine, because we are our own medicine. We know what we need to do, which is why we're guided to the people we're guided to, because we know that that's going to activate something in us to help us get to our highest path, which is why we're all here together right now. Yeah.
And your armor of your ego has kept you safe up to this point. And this is now where you're ready to drop the armor and to just reveal your true self.
Yes.
And there's the vulnerability. Therein lies the vulnerability, because that armor's built, as like you said, with the onion and the layers, all the hurt, all the traumas, all the things that have happened have built this onion to such a point, and now you're ready to strip back those layers to get you back to that true essence of who you are.
It's taken me years of work to get to where I am. I had so many layers around my heart space, it wasn't funny. And you just have to trust in yourself and trust that we are supported and we are guided, because we are all connected. We really are all connected. We're not separate.
No.
Yeah, it's that sort of allowing that uncertainty to come back into your life and stop trying to know the end of the story and always be certain that this is how things are going for me. Like, let
control.
Go.
Releasing control. Yes.
That's control. Which we're taught, like us as women. It's men are the, it's a masculine thing to do and think and plan. I've got to have it all planned, got to stick by that plan. How overwhelmed and anxious do we get when we have to stick to a plan and it's regimented? Because it's not how the female works. We work in cycles, we flow, we trust, we set our idea of what we want. Yep, I want to do this, but how I get there, I don't know. And I'm going to trust how I get there is I will be guided by my knowing and by myself, if that makes sense.
100%.
To fail along the way, in a sense, like you have to allow yourself to fail and get back up and take a different path.
And probably not even use that word, because there really is no right or wrong. It's just what is out of alignment for you, and it's coming back into alignment. So the universe will place things in our way that's going to challenge us to come back to alignment. So we're always coming back to alignment. This happens, okay, I won't do that, I'm going to go back this way. Driving along, something else is there, this happens, come back to alignment. It's kind of, the universe looks after us. And sometimes it doesn't feel good at the time. Sometimes it's really hard because it's pushing us to grow, to be our best version of ourselves, to release or heal something that brings us back to alignment.
And in every moment we are the best version of ourselves. So if we can be in the moment, and then the you that you are now is different to the you were 5 minutes ago, because you've got more information. So in every moment you are actually the best version of yourself, and it's getting to that point as well of being in the flow, being in the moment, and acknowledging and I'm doing okay.
It's really it's very challenging to be in the flow and to let go of control, because that's how I used to be as well. And it's taking me quite a long time to be able to just trust. Like, I never know how things are I know what I want, but I don't even know how I'm going to get there. And that's a really big thing, to let all of that go, because we're taught to control things. We're taught to plan. Everything has to be planned. No, it's all bullshit.
I like to go with the flow too.
That's nice.
Yeah, and I'm the same. I didn't realize how, like, I always thought that I was a bit lazy, because I would just not want to do stuff. But I'd be like, now that I've sort of learned all this stuff and have, learned more about my personality, and now I'm like, I'm just a slow mover. Like, I just want to do things the way they come and not, be rushed and all that. And I was like, I'm so lazy. Like, I should do this and I should do that. But really it was just.
And that's just that's just a programming, which isn't true, like we were talking about before, because we're not supposed to be busy and filling our days and working 9 to 6 every day, and we would be frazzled. We would be unwell, unbalanced, and we would be frazzled. We are supposed to have moments of space and times in our cycle where we don't do much, because that's the time for us to rest and reflect, ready for the next phase again.
I know when I'm feeling down and out, whatever, I used to do a lot of photography, and I've really thrown my camera away since my brother's wedding in November last year. And I used to go to the river, and I just used to sit at the river, listen to the you know, nature, everything. Take photos of, you know,
beautiful.
It didn't mean anything to anyone else, but I haven't done that since November because I took nighttime photos of my brother's wedding and I fucked them up. So, you know, I've kind of just, you know, thrown that camera away and, like, you know, have, you know, a real blockage about that because I feel such guilt that, you know, they trusted me to take their nighttime photos and, you know, have beautiful photos. And, you know, I fucked them up basically.
Well, you'll have to let that guilt go. Yeah, let that guilt go so you can do what you love to do, because it brings you peace and joy. Yeah.
Pick up the camera again.
Yeah, definitely.
That's definitely a big creative thing. Mum's very creative, and a friend of mine at the moment, she's a hairdresser and she's also getting into photography. Like, it's like she's trying to find another way to be creative and to get outdoors, and she's stuck in the salon all the time. And I like that finding your creativity and what's going to take you out and, you know, you back.
Yeah, I just bought an Indian flute, so I go outdoors and I play the flute, which is totally new and totally unexpected for me. But yeah.
I'd forgotten how much I enjoy sewing, and I spent this weekend making bags for my tarot cards, and I made like 10 bags, and the day just flew. So I knew, I forgot how much I enjoy doing this. Yeah, the whole day went, because I just sat there from 8 o'clock in the morning until it was about 4 o'clock in the afternoon, 4:30 in the afternoon. Forgot to eat lunch, just was in the moment, enjoying. Yeah,
that's what happens to me.
While we're on this, like, let's go around and you know, talk about that. Like, I mean, your hobbies as well. Like, recently somebody asked me what my hobbies were, and I couldn't answer. I was like, I don't have any hobbies. Like, I work and I like to cook, and I like to watch TV, and like, you know, like, but I always felt like I was trying to get so much out of that TV show or whatever, like that connection that I was missing from real life that I was trying to get through this movie or something. But then after a few days, I kept thinking, oh my God, I don't have any hobbies. And then it just hit me that music used to be my hobby. Like, I used to sing all the time.
Beautifully.
And I used to sing, like, at, you know, school fetes and things like that. And we lived in a small town, so I got to sing on stage, and it was very nervous, but, you know, exciting, and I loved it. And then as I got older and started, you know, going out partying with my friends, I absolutely loved music and dancing. Like, I would dance all night till the clubs would shut. Like, every weekend when I was 18, I went clubbing because I just loved the dancing and the music. And then if the music was bad, I was like, okay, time to go home. But I forgot that I forgot that I loved music and loved singing, because I just don't do it anymore. So I've started like putting music on and actually singing out loud and like just dancing and you know, at random times. And I always still liked music the whole time, but I never made it a priority. I never realized that it was like such a big self-care and hobby for me, and that's something that made me feel happy.
And that is a part of self-care, bringing in those things that bring us joy, and we get to move and we get to be, and I quite often, that's another thing I do when I'm stressed, I'll put music on and I'll just dance it out of my body. Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, you're right, go.
No, you're right, go.
When my husband's away for the week, I just turn the music on, I just crank it the whole time, and like sometimes I can sit here on the computer listening to music till 11 o'clock at night, because it just calms me. It just, you know, brings me such peace.
Does anyone else want to share their hobby or what makes them truly happy?
Let's call it passion instead of hobby.
Yeah.
Passion.
Yeah, I like that better.
Oh, this is something that I've struggled with, because I just think, what is my passion? I don't know. I mean, I'm like you know, I like music, and I love my yoga, and I've always done a little bit of yoga, and certainly not in the way I'm doing it at the moment. But reading, you know, boring sort of normal stuff. But recently I took up gardening, because I need to get outside and do some grounding.
That's me in your ear, isn't it?
Yeah. So I'm growing some veggies, and I've got my first cucumber the other day.
Nice.
Wow.
Exciting.
Beautiful.
But yeah, I know exactly what you mean about not knowing what your passion is. And it's okay, like it's okay to not know, and that you'll...
It is okay to not know, but I think that's a really important of wellness and health again, is to realize that we're taught to put everyone before ourselves, especially when we're a mum, don't we, Beck?
Yeah.
We spend all that time looking after everyone else, and we just forget who we are. We just become these machines of looking after everyone. So I guess it's about, once again, dedicating time to yourself to explore what you like. Because everyone else will be okay, because you got to have your cup full before you can fill anyone else's up. And how often do we drain our cups and then still keep trying giving? We just can't do it. And you know what? We don't have to do it. And that's another bullshit thing we're told. So we'll flick that one off as well.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of at the end of that process where my son's 17, and during COVID he decided he wanted to go stay at his friend's house, because that's where all the teenagers are hanging out, and hasn't come back, has decided he's not coming back. So it's kind of, when you are caring for your children, you do forget yourself. You're exactly right. And then when the children aren't there, it's that process of, okay, so who was I before that? Who am I now? So it's like that empty nest thing, where my husband and I both look at each other and like, okay, so the house is so quiet. And it's been a process of remembering who we are, remembering what we like, remembering who we were before we became parents. What did we used to like to do that in the last 17 years we haven't been able to do? And getting all that back. So it's like a whole new chapter is starting. So I can totally relate to, you do lose yourself, because you're putting, you know, if you're hungry, you assume straight away this little person is going to be hungry too. If I'm cold, this little person must be cold. So you do put and it's a blessing. Yeah. Children are such a blessing, because my son has been such a blessing for me, because he has helped me to not be such a selfish person, because I always put him first. So he's been a blessing in my life. But now I've got this gift of all this time. What am I going to do now? Yeah.
Same.
What am I going to do now? And you know, he comes for lunch and comes for dinner, and he's always popping in and out, but he's his own person. He's doing it his own way now, even though he's still a baby for me, because he's 17. But he thinks he's 20 and thinks he knows it all. So he's kind of relearning the boundaries, relearning the relationship, and you've got all this time for yourself. That it's nice, but it's kind of
it's weird, isn't it? And you have to go, okay, what makes my heart joyful? What makes my heart expand, and do that.
Yeah. What do I want to do? Because I can do it now. What is it that I want to do?
Yeah, instead of filling the time in doing a load of washing or
multitasking.
I used to do that.
So I'll put the washing in and then I'll do that. Yeah.
I used to do that. Yep, I used to do that. Busy, got to do everything. Everything's got to be perfect. No.
Yeah, and it's that role as well. I'm a mum, and I look after this little person, but this little person's grown up and now doesn't want me to do things. So my son was kind of followed me around like a shadow, and then the first girlfriend that he got, it's like, I've gone from being the front of the line to the back of the line, and that's not very nice. I don't like that. That's not supposed to happen.
Yeah.
And it's that adjustment, and all those things that I used to take for granted, now I have to try harder for. So he You know, he used to always be around me and follow me everywhere. And that's like, are you okay? Yeah, I'm fine. Do you need anything? No. Can I do anything for you? No. Oh. What am I supposed to do then?
I know. We become very independent.
Oh, I know. It's a big adjustment, though. It's the adjustment into motherhood and then the adjustment out of it. Even though you're never truly out of it, but that dependency, that's a good word. That their dependency changes. Yeah, it's an interesting process.
Sarah and Tennille, are you guys there? Are you listening?
Yeah.
Did you want to add anything in there of what your passion is, or what your what makes you happy?
Passion is something that I'm not really sure how to answer that either. I love music, and the music is always on while I'm doing stuff. I probably enjoy catching up and getting back with people, but as in actually a passion or a hobby, I don't know, other than looking after my kids.
It makes you happy though, that connection with catching up with your friends, or
yes.
Yeah.
And yes, having, you got to let things go, but if I let things go and I don't have a plan, how do I feed the children?
They'll tell you when they're hungry.
They will feed themselves and you'll just have to clean up.
Yeah. I'm hungry for breakfast, Mum, and that's at tea time. Like, darling, it's dinner, but anyway, and now I've got the cereal out on the bench. So at least she can do that. So.
And she's having fun.
Alrighty, guys. Well, what about what's your biggest takeaway from tonight's talk? Anyone want to go first?
Well,
I'll go first. Okay. Sorry, Janelle.
Yeah, sorry. We have a little girl in kindy, and she has now I've totally forgot what it is. Asperger's. Yeah. And we've had some OTs because I think my 2-year-old's a bit crazy. Well, this little girl has nothing on my little 2-year-old. And she's nasal fed, so she's actually only 9 days younger than my eldest daughter, but she's very little. So the OTs the other day said about when I'm reading her books, because to try and get her attention span for any more than 2 minutes is impossible, that I should try grounding by lying on the ground to read her a story. And with her, she doesn't really do that because of her nasal gastric tube, probably pushes down. So we're trying the side. So we are that kind of, I can see, I must admit, when they told me that, I'm like, who do you people think you are?
There's actually a documentary to watch if you want to watch it. It's called The Earth movie. I've shared it on my page, Kiralee, some time ago. Watch that, and because it's full of scientific evidence, because people might think it's a bit woo-woo connecting with the earth. But when you think about before we lived in homes, we slept on the earth and we were out in the earth and we were outside all the time. So it's actually really important. And they've got research there that, the moment you step on the earth, the whole body changes. Everything goes into balance. So maybe for her, you could, she could get you can get earthing pads, you can get earthing blankets. Like there's a whole range of stuff you can get.
So
I think give it a go.
Really good to then not just look at it as a woohoo idea going, yeah, right. And yeah, like, I guess that's just our instinct. We just think what we've learnt to grow up.
Yeah.
But in saying that, like Dad, he had never worn shoes. Probably until he got married, I guess. And that's it. He just, because that's how it was. You never wore shoes back then, did you? So,
yeah.
Awesome. Anyone else got a big takeaway?
Just a lot of validating thoughts of things that go, yes, that's so exactly how I feel, and you know, with fears, and with also really with when Jassie was saying how we women, we flow, and we have a goal, but we don't need to be regimented in how we get there. And that's sort of funnily how it was. I was thinking of my garden when she was saying that, because Damon bought me all my gardening stuff for my birthday, but then, you know, like we had to do it that day, and we had to go down and get the mulch from the backyard, and had to do this, and had to do. And I was like, I just really want to enjoy this.
Yeah.
To do it slowly and just potter around and just do it how I feel like doing it, instead of having to, like, you know, get this done by lunchtime sort of thing. It was crazy, but I mean, it was still amazing, and I do it obviously every day. So getting past the point where we had to be organised and get it in done, that really made me laugh when we were talking about that, because that's exactly how that went down.
Yeah, awesome.
Well, I haven't had a kitchen in my house since September last year. Our house is a little cottage, and it's very old. It was moved to its current location in 1937. So, I mean, it's a very old home. And so I only had a 2-burner cooktop, so we brought that up into Barry's side of the shed. And we've been slowly renovating the kitchen. And everybody says to me, doesn't that annoy you that you don't have a kitchen? And I was like, well, I've got a perfectly functioning kitchen out in the other garage side. But now that my kitchen's getting closer to completion, I'm getting more and more anxious about, you know, come on, I want to get this done. You know, I want it done yesterday. But, you know, Barry's only home for 7 days. First 2 days usually we're, you know, just chilling because he's worked for 7 days straight. And then, you know, one of those days we go to town, and, you know, like there's all these, you know, things that we've got to do while he's home. And for me, I feel bad that, you know, he's got to work all week and then he's got to come home and work again. So now that I can see it getting closer to the time, you know, I'm putting more pressure on him. So it'll be nice when that's finished, so that I can just go, oh, this is so nice to have a stove and a kitchen, you know, because I just had cupboards before, you know. So all of those things that, you know, we all dream about having the perfect kitchen and everything. Well, it's not, you know, a brand new kitchen. It's a secondhand kitchen. We're making it work, you know, how we want it, because I didn't want to spend $8.5 grand on a little old house that, you know, I love. It's my home and I'll never probably ever get rid of it. Whereas, you know, some people are like, oh, just buy a brand new one. Just put a brand new one on. Whereas, you know, we've just had so much fun doing it together, because that's what Barry and I do. We always are doing something together. So, but yeah, I'm getting to that end where I'm like, come on, hurry up. I just want it finished.
Awesome. Yeah, it'll be good once it's done.
Yeah.
And have an actual kitchen, but yeah, trying to enjoy it in the process.
Yeah.
So maybe we can have a cooking lesson out of Mum's new kitchen, Kiralee.
Yeah, maybe.
Kiralee got to be here for that.
I'm sure we can arrange that.
All right. Well, it's 8 o'clock, and I don't know if you guys are, you know, have early mornings or anything like that. But just lastly, like, thanks to everyone. But Jassie, where can we find you on socials, and like, yeah, what can you sort of tell the girls that you could help them with?
Where would they find me on Facebook and Insta?
Yeah.
Yeah, on She Holistic Health, Wellness and Fitness is my business. So you'll find me on Facebook or Insta, or just get my number from Kiralee and you can call me. Yeah.
She Holistic what? Sorry, I missed the rest of
She Holistic.
Yep.
With a W, meaning whole.
Okay.
Health, wellness and fitness. I know it's a mouthful, isn't it? I think I'm going to change that. I think I'm going to shorten it soon.
Yeah, well, business name is so hard because you want to like put so much into it, because you're like, but it's all this thing, all this stuff. It's not just one thing.
Yeah.
Cool. Alrighty, guys. Anyone else got any questions or anything? No? Well, thank you so much for coming, and thank you, Jassie, for...
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, giving us some really valuable information and life lessons. And don't hesitate to reach out to Jassie if you want to, or to me if you've got any questions, and you'll probably have some aha moments in the coming days or whatever, and you'll be like, oh, that's what they meant when they said this or whatever. So please share. Also, if you can just write a little message as to what you learned and what you got out of this, and just send me a screenshot or something, send it to Jassie, and if you don't mind, so we can just gather that sort of information up, and yeah, that'd be cool.
Is this a regular meeting that you do, or is this just a one-off meeting that you do?
No, I'm going to be doing monthly workshop talk kind of things. And
it won't be regularly with me.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So
it's really good. Thank you.
Yeah, that's okay. Thanks for coming. Every month's sort of going to have a new topic and a different focus, which is really cool.
Cool. Yeah, thank you.
If you guys are looking for me online, it's just Variety4 Life on Instagram and Facebook, and my website varietyforlife.com.au. Cool.
Pardon me.
Bless you.
Jassie, I'm going to feel better soon.
I'm hoping it just stops here and then goes.
Good luck. Let it go. All right.
Thanks for having me.
Guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good night.
See you. Good night.
Bye.